Hola Year 9, so this is our second lesson in our food topic, so make sure you have completed lesson 1, introducing you to food, before you move on to this lesson. So in today's lesson, we're going to be able to give our opinions on food and drink, mainly using the verb gustar, and also give a range of reasons. So we simply learnt last week different words for food and said what we usually eat, and now we're going to say what we think of those foods and drinks. There is a worksheet like last lesson that you can download to complete all the activities in this lesson. So if you scroll down below the video again, download and make sure you save that document to complete alongside the video. Okay, so these are basically the questions that we're answering in today's lesson by giving our opinions and reasons. So what do we think of these questions here? ¿Qué te gusta comer? What does this mean? So you remember that hopefully me gusta is I like. So given this is in a question, I'm asking somebody else what they like. You, te gusta, what do you like? And then como we learnt last lesson is I eat. So hopefully you remember when I've got the er verb back on that verb there, it's to eat rather than I eat. So what do you like to eat? ¿Qué te gusta comer? Then we've made this negative. ¿Qué no te gusta comer? What don't you like to eat? And ¿qué te gusta beber? So maybe you remember from last lesson, bebo is I drink, so beber is to drink. So you might be able to already think of an answer from our vocabulary from last lesson, and we know that I like is me gusta. We touched on opinions a little bit when we were talking about characters in that film. So me gusta el chocolate would be I like chocolate, okay? So let's look at some better examples or longer examples. So I like chicken would be me gusta el pollo. But if I want to say I like to eat chicken, I can add that verb in there. Me gusta comer pollo. Me gusta comer, here's a new word for us, galletas a biscuits. No me gusta comer ensalada. No me gusta comer salchichas. You might not remember that one from last time, so here's a little reminder. Okay, so I don't like to eat sausages. So that verb there, comer, means to eat. And we know we take off the er, the to part, and add the o ending, como. We don't want to say me gusta como pollo. That wouldn't make sense. That would mean I eat chicken. That's why we need to use the to eat one. I like to eat chicken, or I like eating chicken. If we were looking at some drinks then, me gusta beber café. I like to drink coffee. Me gusta beber Coca-Cola. No me gusta beber leche. I don't like to drink milk. No me gusta beber chocolate caliente. Chocolate hot, in other words, hot chocolate. So you've got beber, to drink, bebo, I drink. So again, same thing, we wouldn't want to say me gusta bebo café, because that would be I drink coffee. So we need to make sure we have the whole verb there. However, if we remove that comer or beber from the sentence, so let's look back at those. If we took out beber from this one, for example, I don't like to drink milk, and we just said I don't like milk, no me gusta, and took out the beber, we actually then, like we learnt the foods last week with the words the with them, we need to make sure we know the gender so we can put that word the back in. It's a little bit strange. So let's look at some examples. We might remember me encanta means I love. So if you were going to say I love chocolate, me encanta el chocolate. I love the chocolate. Because when you're talking about that you love a food, you're saying I love all of it in general. I love the chocolate. Me encanta el chocolate. Or if you don't like this one, seafood, mariscos, no me gustan, I have to add an N because seafood is plural, we'll see that later on. Los mariscos, I need that los there. If I was going to put in the eat or drink or anything in there though, then I don't need that word for the. So I love chocolate, me encanta el chocolate. I love to eat chocolate, me encanta comer chocolate. I don't need to say me encanta comer el chocolate. Same for this one here. If I was going to say I don't like to eat seafood, I would not need that word for the. I just need to eat there. It's almost like it replaces it, okay? So in today's lesson, you'll probably use a mixture of these opinions. Sometimes you might say, I love chocolate, or I like hamburgers. But sometimes you might say, I like eating hamburgers for lunch, or I love orange juice, or I love drinking orange juice for breakfast. You might put in the verb. If we're putting in that verb, drinking or eating, we don't need the with the food. Okay, so try to remember that as we write during today's lesson. One other thing we need to bear in mind then is whether or not something is single or plural. So we saw the example on the previous one. We saw this me gustan los mariscos. So when we have me gusta, we don't need anything on the end. I like chocolate. But when it's plural, we add an N. And you might recognise that this is the they spelling of any verb. So if I was going to say they eat, como is I eat, comen is they eat. Whenever it's they, it has an N on the end. Because what this actually means, me gusta, means pleases me. That's how they say I like in Spanish. Chocolate pleases me. So that's why when I've got seafood, because it's a plural, it's more than one, I can't say seafood please me. I have to say pleases with the N. It's got to be plural. So the next activity, or the first activity rather, on your worksheet, what you're going to do is fill in the opinion in all of these. So you're either using me encanta, I love, me gusta, I like, or no me gusta, I don't like, and adding an N if it's something plural. So for example, you've got las patatas fritas here, chips, it's plural, they love it, by the face, therefore we need me encanta, and because it's plural, I need the N, me encantan. So pause the video, and what you're going to need to do, if you haven't printed this and are writing it on, you're going to need to insert a text box over it. I will have inserted text boxes on the Word document, but in case they're not there or not clear, then insert your own text box over it. If for some reason it won't let you insert a text box over it, you can simply put another text box underneath it and write A, whatever your answer is, B, and so on. And if for some reason, again, that the Word document won't even let you type on it, then just write your answers on a separate Word document. Okay? Okay, so unpause when you have completed these. So for number one, we've got letter A rather. I don't like. Fish is a single thing, so we just need no me gusta, not no me gustan. Fish pleases me, or doesn't please me rather. Tomates is plural, so I'm going to need the they form. Tomatoes, they please me. Me gustan. I love cheese. It's one thing, me encanta. I don't like hamburgers, me no me gustan. And I like meat, me gusta. So can you please mark those in a different colour, or insert a purple tick or something from Google, and just make sure that if there's any you missed out, you write in the answers in a different colour, so I can see how, or Mr. Cullerton can see how you're getting on. Okay, now what we're going to do is, you've written some simple opinions there. You're now going to write some more extended opinions using these images. So you're going to write at least 5 sentences, link them into a paragraph using the images below. You must include a mixture of sentences with beber or comer and some without. So in other words, if I was writing about salad and hamburgers, if I pick these 2 images, you don't have to, you might pick this one, this one, this one, this one. Then in the first sentence, I'm going to include the word to eat. So I like, me gusta, comer la ensalada, but perro no me gusta, and then because it's a plural, no me gustan los hamburguesas. Because I haven't included the to eat here, I need los. But because I did include to eat here, I don't need the there. If that's confusing for you, then just miss out the comer and beber in each one, and just keep the word there because they're in your list from last lesson. So you need your sheet from last lesson. Make sure you've saved it somewhere carefully, or go back and look at last lesson if you can't remember things like lemonade or fruit, chips, meat, and so on. Pizza is just la pizza. Ham, remember we learned jamon serrano with the different types of ham. And we have learned the others like soup, orange juice, tea, and cheese. So it's up to you which pictures you pick, but you need to write 5 sentences, and ideally, or about 5 of the images, and ideally link them. So I've already done 2 here. into 1. So if this was mine, I would have done 2 out of 5 because I've done salad and I've done hamburgers. Okay, so pause, complete that on the space on your worksheet, and then continue when you're ready. Okay, so we've looked at some opinions of food, and now we're going to give our reasons for them. So there's a little area on your sheet which says adjectives for food, and you've just got the English. What you're now going to do is listen carefully, because they're not in the same order on your sheet. You are going to fill in the Spanish. So we're starting with the word for spicy. So if the Spanish like to eat a lot of chilies and spicy food, in Spanish that is picante. So on your worksheet, find spicy, and next to it, please type in picante. Pause and then continue when you're ready for the next one. Make sure as well you're saying these out loud so you can learn these for next lesson. Picante, picante. Okay, next one then. So we've got salt here. So this is salty, salado. Try that, salado. So once you've written salado next to salty, move on to the next one. This is sugar, so this is sweet. Dulce means sweet. Okay. You might have heard of dulce de leche, which is a type of sweet milk, basically condensed milk turned into caramel, which they eat a lot of in South America. So next to sweet, write down dulce. Then if something is healthy, it is sano. And if it's fresh, it is fresco. So you've got healthy in one place and fresh in another. Make sure you write down the right word with each. So let's practice sano, sano, and fresco, fresco. Okay, next one. Now I put the English on here so you can see the difference. So things are fatty, so things like chorizo contain a lot of fat. If it's rich in fats, as in rich in healthy fats, something like avocado, then it'd be rica en grasas, rich in fats. But if something is fatty, so it's not good for you, that kind of fat, then grasiento, grasiento. So let's try those, rica en grasas and grasiento. So once you've written the Spanish, unpause and move on. Okay, if something is delicious, then it is delicioso. If you are saying delicioso, you're not wrong in your pronunciation, but it is, as I've said to my classes, that's more South American Spanish and Central America Spanish, like Mexico. You will hear that kind of Spanish spoken in songs like Despacito. In Spain, they would pronounce that despacito. We are from Europe. You're learning the Spanish of Spain, because that's where it came from. So we'd like you to work on delicioso pronunciation, but if you say delicioso, you aren't saying it wrong. It's just a different accent, like we have different accents, different ways of saying things in the UK. Okay, so delicioso, make sure you write that down next to delicious. And then tasty is sabroso. Let's try that, sabroso. Okay. If something is nutritious, so it's full of nutrients, it's good for you, it is nutritivo. So next to nutritious on your sheet, please write down nutritivo. And let's practice that V as a B sound, nutritivo. Good. And then finally, something that is disgusting. So I don't think any of us would ever, or maybe some of you might be brave enough to try this. But if something is disgusting, it is asqueroso. Let's try that. Asqueroso. So remember, QU in Spanish never makes a qu sound. It's always a k sound. Asqueroso. So make sure you've written that next to disgusting. Okay, so we've got all our adjectives now. Let's have a look at one of them in particular. So we've got the word sano, healthy. What do you notice about the way it's been spelt here? So hopefully you can see that the letter on the end has changed. And we already know this. We've talked about this when we were describing people, that if I'm describing anything masculine, the adjective stays the same. Sano, look, it matches pescado. If it's feminine, I need to change that word to an A. La sopa sana. So healthy soup would be sopa, la sopa sana. If it's plural, not only in English we would just say healthy eggs, but in Spanish they say healthies eggs. And they add an S to the adjective as well. So I need to add S to here to make it plural, or el becomes los huevos sanos. So I've got to add that S, healthies eggs. Gambas are prawns. So I've got the feminine plural here. So it's feminine, so I need it to be A. And there's more than one, so S. So healthy prawns would be las gambas sanas. Let's look at another word. So this dulce has not changed in the feminine. And we saw that with words like inteligente. If I was going to say my brother is intelligent, it's mi hermano es inteligente. If I was going to say my sister is intelligent, I'd say mi hermana es inteligente. So it's only when that word ends in an O do you change it to an A. If it ends in E, or another adjective that is usually E or O, then it doesn't change. So sweet fish, if you had a sweet fish, not sure what that would be like, but el pescado dulce, sweet soup, la sopa dulce, sweet eggs, I guess if you're talking about Easter eggs, los huevos dulces, I've got to add an S, but nothing else changes. Sweet prawns, not sure I fancy those either, but it would be las gambas dulces. I don't change it to dulzas. Okay, so when we are writing now about our using those adjectives, we need to remember that our adjective has to match the thing we're talking about. So let's practice a few more together. I just want you to have a think about what all of the spellings for these words would be. So if ice cream was being described as rich, that's another way to say delicious, then we would say rico. What would be the word fatty? So grasiento. What would fatty be if I was describing ice cream? It's masculine, so it's grasiento. And what would the word for sweet be if I was describing ice cream? Same again, dulce. Okay, pause the video. You don't need to write anything down, and just have a think now about the spellings for delicious, fatty, and sweet to go with all of these words here. Tarta is cake, perritos calientes are hot dogs, and then chips. Okay? Okay, so you should have had a little think now about those. So rico would be rica, grasiento would be grasienta, but dulce stays the same. Los perritos calientes, I need the masculine spelling because they are masculine. They end in dog, ends in O. The word hot is describing it. That ends in an E. So that doesn't change. And they all end in an S because they're plural. So ricos add an S, grasientos add an S, dulces add an S. Chips are feminine. They all end in A and they're plural. They end in S. So ricas, I need the A and the S. Grasientas, dulces. Doesn't need an A because it ends in an E. So on your worksheet now, you've got this grid and you need to fill in all the right spellings for the adjectives. You've got the masculine, the normal ones here, delicious, sweet, fatty, nutritious, rich, and healthy. What you need to do now is going across, fill in the masculine plural. So you'd be adding an S for this one. Then the feminine plural. So I look at the feminine, usually change the O to an A. Look, all of these end in an O except dulce. And then I need to add an S, and then fill in the meanings. I just said them. See if you can remember what the meanings are, but if not, you can rewind. Okay? We're not giving the answers for this one. Myself or Sir will check that you've got the correct spellings. But basically, if it ends in an O, it stays like that for masculine plural. We just add an S. Same for E. Changing the O to an A for feminine. And then adding the S as well as the A with a feminine plural. So I'm sure, especially if you flick back to hear your rewind back, you'll be able to get all of these correct. So pause and continue when you've completed. And like before, you'll need to add a text box over it or add a text box under if it's being a bit fiddly. Okay? Right, next activity is putting these into full sentences then. So you've got a food here like rice, el arroz, vegetables, sweets, hamburger. Flan is a type of Spanish cake. And then you're going to tell me a full sentence about it. So you've got food and delicious. So I would need to say food is delicious. La comida es. And I need to make this deliciosa because it's feminine. Tomatoes, it's in plural, so this time I need a, which is son. And then I've got healthy, so I need to make that plural. Tomatoes, son, sanos. So you're going to complete these 5 sentences on your worksheet. So again, type over in a text box. El arroz, and then you need to type over it, complete the sentence, say rice is nutritious. I need to add in the is. Vegetables are healthy. Do I need to add in is or are? Which one am I adding? And what do I need to think about with the end of the adjective? Okay, so make sure your adjective matches the food and that you've written is or are correctly. So pause, and then when you've completed those 5, unpause to mark. Okay, so as usual with marking, insert a tick from Google or just put a purple or red dash, sorry, because it's self-marking or something like that, okay? So we should have el arroz es nutritivo, rice is nutritious. Las verduras son, are, sanas, healthy, because it's feminine plural, I need to change that to a and add an s. Los caramelos son dulces, sweets are sweet. La hamburguesa es grasienta, that should be, it's cut off there, but it's ends in an a, that one, because it's feminine. El flan es delicioso, flan is delicious, okay? So check those and type in a different colour, like in red, any that you didn't get correct. And then unpause when you're ready to move on. So now we have learnt our opinions, we've recapped those, and we've learnt our reasons why. We can finally put it all together to give our opinions and reasons together using por qué, because. For example, I like fish because it is healthy and fresh. Pescado is masculine, so I've got sano, fresco. I don't like hamburger because it's fatty. Hamburger is feminine, so I need la and a. If we were talking about something plural, I would not be using is, but I would be using son, a. So me gustan, I like, I need the N on the end of gustan. Las verduras porque son sanas y nutritivas. I like vegetables, it's feminine plural, because they are sanas y nutritivas, healthy and nutritious. No me gustan los mariscos porque son horribles. So I need an S on the end of here, and there's another negative adjective for you to learn there. Looks exactly like the English, pronounced horrible. Mariscos are plural, so I need an S, horribles. And I wouldn't have said no me gustan los mariscos porque es horribles, because that would have meant I don't like seafood because it is horrible. But in Spanish, seafood is plural, okay? Right, so what you're now going to do is write some sentences of your own about the food you eat. So there's an example sentence there. I like chocolate because it's sweet. Okay, and make sure if you're talking about a plural, like we've got here, I like vegetables because they are healthy and nutritious. So as you're writing, think about the adjective matching the noun. So if it's masculine, feminine, plural, how should that adjective, that describing word end? And maybe make some links and comparisons. So I like this, but I don't like that, or sometimes, or however, that we used last lesson. Okay, so pause and write down a few sentences about some food you like and don't like. Okay, fantástico. Muy bien, Year 9. Great work. Buen trabajo. Make sure now that you save that work, that document you've been working on, and upload it to Add Submission. If you printed the document and you've written it on paper, take photos of it, and then you can either go onto Moodle on your phone and log in and go into this lesson, and then you can add the photos of your work to Add Submission. Or if you're struggling to get onto Moodle on your phone, you could email those photos to yourself on a computer, then download them and upload them into Add Submission. Okay, so make sure you've saved it before you do that, and don't send us a blank version as well. Muy bien, and we will see you next lesson to continue with our food work.